more. I'd like to thank former WATE anchor Gene Patterson for texting me and pointing out that he thinks Gudger is between Madisonville and Inglewood, not between Madisonville and Von Orr. I don't know. You're talking to somebody whose family is from Tater Valley in Union County, so I'm not sure. I may be off on where my Gudger location is.
Gene's a pro.
Salute to Gudger and to Tater Valley, by the way. I like throwing out names. All right, let's take a look at the final poll results. Who's got the best eyesight that can see what won? Tennessee won? Yeah, Tennessee overrated is your winner, correct?
Yeah, 35% ahead of Ohio State being underrated.
Wow. I think it's Ohio State underrated or Big Ten underrated.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree.
Yeah, to me it's those two. Yeah, Ohio State has proven it was underrated.
Yeah. All right. How does Tennessee catch Ohio State? How do they catch those teams? If you want to be better than what I laid out in that last thing, you want to be in the playoffs every year, et cetera, et cetera. How do you guys go about it? Are you spending more time recruiting in high school? Are you spending more time in this portal? Attack the portal. Which way are you doing it? Vince, I'll start with you.
I think it's
and you
2
can't
to
say
1.
both, Chuck
No,
Callaway.
it's
Yeah.
2 to 1 recruiting. Now, to Jimmy's point earlier, you have to develop them, but I think it's that way. The 4 teams that are in the college football playoff added 11, Texas added 11, Notre Dame 9, Penn State 6, Ohio State 8 in the portal this past year. That's not overly relying on them. Some of those probably don't start, but they're hitting on a great percentage of it. So Tennessee had 10, so they're in that ballpark, but you got to hit on those elite guys.
Tell you what, let me do the numbers first. We'll get these out of the way, and I'll let you guys answer. I was going to spring these on you. I was hoping you'd go in a different direction. I'd say, wrong, but I can't. So let's go ahead and take a look how the top teams built their rosters. All right, so what you see there, these are the national champions for the last few years. Michigan, Georgia, Alabama, LSU. And then you got Oregon, who was number 1 for most of this year, Ohio State, who beat you, and Tennessee this year. The average recruiting class, all right, so I included 5 years since now players can be there for 115. I at least included 5. Michigan, their average recruiting rank was 11.4. That's the lowest one of the ones who won a championship. Georgia, their 5 years prior to their championship, they averaged the number 2 class in the country. Number 2 class in the country in 2021. Alabama, the number 2 class in the country was their average. LSU, when they won it, they averaged the number 7 class in the country. Oregon this year, 8th. Ohio State that beat you is averaged 4th of the last. You're 14.8. You're below all those teams. So that's to me, that's the biggest issue. You've got to build with the recruiting. Now let's take a look at the next one. I thought they did a great job in the Rose Bowl game this week of pointing this out. Everybody was like, well, Ohio State spent $20 million. Yeah, it wasn't just on transfers. This was their defense. Look at all the 5th-year starters. Look at all the 4th-year starters. Look at you only got 2 transfers on there. So it was a handful of transfers, as Vince pointed out. And then I've told you for years to go ahead, I've been telling you, go ahead and subscribe to the newsletter for Josh and Swain because I found this number. Let's go to the next graphic here. Josh put that top number up there. Pro Football Focus put out their draft board this year, and they had 5 Vols on it. All right, 5 Tennessee guys, and you see where they had them. James Pierce, 29, Omar Norman Lott, 51, Dylan Sampson, 54. Those are your only top 100 players. Look across the 4 teams remaining in the playoffs. 14, 11, 8, 7, you got 5. Look at top 100 players. Ohio State has 10 top 100 players. And to get to Vince's point, of those top 100 players, only 2 transferred in this year. One of them transferred in like 3 years ago. But it's mainly homegrown talent. Josh, do you agree that it's mainly focused on the recruiting? That's where Tennessee has to make it up, is in the high school recruiting. And then you sprinkle in some talent in the transfer portal.
Yeah, without question. You supplement, you find guys that can fill spots. If a Caleb Downs comes available and you have a shot at him, go after him because he is a difference-making player. But there are only so many difference-making players. The rest are going to be guys that fill roles. Your elite players, guys that lead you to championships, are going to be guys that you sign out of high school most often and develop within your program. You're looking at roster retention at Ohio State. They have depth of incredible talent, and that's why Ohio State has 2 blowout wins in the playoff and is the favorite to win the national championship.
Yeah, I think it has to be that base. And, you don't get those 4- and 5-year guys, even 3-year guys, which is a lot these days, if you're not developing those players. Obviously, staff continuity leads to that. But you outlined it, the difference in the 4- and 5-star. That takes time.
Yes.
And if you're going to chip away and try to catch up, yes, you have to be higher up in the rankings in the top 10. You got to keep them. You got to hit a greater percentage of them because they're going to stay there too. So you can say, we're going to have a top 5 class. Well, so are they, and so are the other powers.
Yes, that's the key.
You have to hit the greater percentage of it and develop those players.
Yeah, you look at Tennessee, you keep being in the top 10 right now. The last couple of years, you've been top 10.
Right.
You got to get top 5. If
Yeah.
you want to catch the top 5 guys, you got to be top 5, and you got to do it for 4 and 5 years in a row.
Yeah, we talk a lot about you need 4-star players, and you do. They need the high end guys.
Right.
The 10 top 100 players for Ohio State, that makes a tremendous difference. So Tennessee in this recruiting class landed David Sanders Jr. He is a top level player. They beat out Ohio State to get him. Tennessee needs to land more of those level players to catch up in this conversation of overall talent.
And they need to play him so he doesn't transfer and develop him so they can get more people to come in.
Getting him is the starting point, and then there's work that has to be done.
Exactly.
Ohio State, one of the big portal guys, was their number 2 running back. And look at that 1-2 combination of Henderson and Judkins.
Yeah.
One of them was a portal addition. So it's not just starters, it's those key role guys as well.
Exactly. I just think so many people think that the portal is the key now. No, the portal's not the key. The portal is the icing on the cake. And you got to be really judicious in how you use your money and finding the right guys in the portal.
Yeah.
It's still about owning the recruiting class every December. All right. When we come back, postseason reactions around the SEC. We got Brian Kelly, Kalen DeBoer, Shane Beamer questions. Come on back.